Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we are taking a look at an awesome spice pick in the Great League, HAXORUS. I have never seen a HAXORUS used outside of the Master League, but today, this mad lad brings HAXORUS Double Steel into the Great League. They are running HAXORUS on the lead with Dragon Tail over counter, with Escavalier and Shadow Metagross in the back. This is definitely more of a team for fun than for climbing, but this trainer has some incredible battles with the team. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out HAXORUS in action in the Great League. Hopping to the first match, suiting HAXORUS into Talonflame. This is definitely a matchup where having Dragon Tail over counter is helpful because look at the damage from those Dragon Tails. 5 Dragon Tails, and this Talonflame is below half health, almost able to farm down, but decides to go for the Night Slash right as they reach the Flame Charge. The opponent decides to let it go down, and then they bring in Wall Rain, but this HAXORUS is absolutely loaded. Going for the Night Slash able to grab a shield, but HAXORUS not done and able to reach Night Slash number 2. This will be doing a significant amount of damage. HAXORUS able to take out 1.5 Pokemon just by itself. Escav can survive any one move here. They decide to call it. Only ends up being an Icicle Spear, and at this point, yeah, I think you just keep no shield in the Escav. Again, just an Icicle Spear. Final Pokemon in the back is Meganium, and now it is Shadow Metagross time. Shadow Metagross, unfortunately, with the 1 charge move, but still, if you're only going to have 1 charge move, Meteor Mash is a heck of a choice. Getting baited here would be absolutely terrible. I think you call this. They call it. It is the Frenzy Plant, but oh my goodness, that actually almost KOs. Shadow Metagross, extremely glassy. They're deciding to shield the Shadow Metagross and trying to force the energy, which they're able to do. At this point, Escav should be able to come back in and farm down. Back in comes the Wall Rain, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, putting HAXORUS into Medicham. Pretty scary lead because if they do have Ice Punch, I'm guessing Ice Punch one-shots HAXORUS, but again, look at the damage those Dragon Tails are doing, even to a bulky Pokemon like Medicham, and able to grab the shield. I think at this point, you just call a power-up punch. They do, but the opponent is running Dynamic Punch. Again, Season of Spice, sometimes you will see some interesting movesets, and unfortunately, HAXORUS goes down. Escavalier able to get to the Drill Run. This will KO, but the Medicham decides to commit the second shield. So they very well could be weak in the back to Escavalier. So honestly, I really like the shield decision here. Because you're going to be able to get to the Drill Run. Drill Run will take them out. And if they're willing to commit the shield on the Medicham in that situation, they could be weak in the back. And they bring in Hypno. And now in comes Shadow Metagross. This should just be a punch. So you should be able to tank it here, but it's a Fire Punch. Oh no, that is not what they wanted to see at all, but they're going to farm up as much as possible, almost to 2 Meteor Mashes, and this Meteor Mash able to take out the Hypno, and the Pokemon they have in the back is Venusaur. How much does Shadow Meteor Mash do to Venusaur? It almost one-shots the Venusaur. Back in comes Escavalier, and the opponent concedes the match. Hopping to the next match, putting HAXORUS into Skarmory. And matchups versus Steel types are definitely where HAXORUS will miss counter, as these Dragon Tails are going to be resisted. Nevertheless, HAXORUS staying in and going for a Night Slash, hoping for a boost that can maybe change its fortunes, but unfortunately the boost does not come. The opponent throws just before they reach the second Night Slash. Very nice counting by the opponent, and going to farm up and throw just as the Skarmory reaches the second Sky Attack, possibly hoping to trigger a CMP type. Skarmory shields, and it's CMP. Very nice play there, as now you force the Skarmory to dump their energy instead of being able to farm down, and now he's going for a very aggressive farm down with his own Escav, which he's able to get. So Skarmory is down. What do they have in back? They bring in Deoxys, and that is not a counter to a loaded Escavalier. Escavalier going for the Mega Horn. Mega Horn connects, and this should only be a Psycho Boost. It's going to hurt, but it is resisted, so they do commit the shield on the Psycho Boost, and the final Pokemon in the back is Azumarill. Azumarill is not going to appreciate these Meteor Mashes, but it doesn't look like they have Hydro Pump, as they're forced to go for an Ice Beam. Unfortunately, Ice Beam still does massive damage, as Shadow Metagross is incredibly glassy. going for the Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash grabs the shield, able to reach a second Meteor Mash, and now we get to see how much damage this does to Azumarill. Almost taking out the Azumarill. Back in comes the Defense Deoxys, and for the third time in 3 games, the opponent resigns the match. Picking up a rough lead in the next match, HAXORUS into Ferrothorn, safe switching into Escavalier, and then the opponent switches in a Galarian Stunfisk. If this is the opponent's best response to an Escavalier, then their team must be absolutely core broken. This should just be a Rock Slide, but the Escav going to commit the shield as they do recognize that the opponent must be extremely weak, so preserving the Escav probably going to be useful in the endgame. G-Fisk committing the shield on that second drill run. They are needing to get some damage off. They decide to let one through, just ends up being the Rock Slide. Escavalier goes for the farm down, but they're not able to get there. They should be able to farm down after committing the shield, and then they'll leave with a Mega Horn loaded. Opponent brings in Cresselia, but they blind through the drill run. That is a huge mistake, as that does not do nearly as much damage as the Mega Horn, but fortunately, Shadow Metagross absolutely walls Cresselia. No matter what moveset this Cresselia is running, they can't touch Metagross. They go for the Grass Knot. That does basically nothing. That is some rare footage of Shadow Metagross in the Great League actually tanking a charge move well. And now, back in comes the Ferrothorn. Here is definitely where you miss having Earthquake. Only having that single move is unfortunate, and the Ferrothorn does have Thunder. That means that all their charge moves are going to be resisted versus HAXORUS, but this Power Whip is going to hurt. The opponent actually goes for a Thunder, and that's a mistake. And maybe because of that mistake, he is going to be able to grab the win. Going for the Night Slash. Night Slash lands, no boost, able to resist the Dragon Tail down, and that's a good game. Picking up a solid lead in the next match, HAXORUS into Venusaur. The opponent safe switches into Galarian Stunfisk, and they are immediately met with Escavalier. I believe this is enough for an Earthquake. That would do quite a bit of damage. They call it, and it's just the Rock Slide. Escav farm it up, but unfortunately, much like its teammates, Escav not the tankiest Pokemon in the Great League, so they will need to commit the shield on that second Rock Slide. The good news is that this Escavalier is absolutely loaded on energy, able to grab the first shield, and now able to put pressure on that second shield, and able to grab the second shield as well. I believe the Escavalier can probably shield up here and then commit to the farm down. This is going to be very close. Can they get it? Yes, they can. And now Escav, as Venusaur comes back in, will be able to reach the Mega Horn. The one worry is that you've seen Venusaur and you've seen G-Fisk, so it could be Bastiodon in the back. They go for the aggressive snipe with HAXORUS. Venusaur lives on 1 HP, and what do you know? It is Bastiodon. And this is why it's nice to have Surf. Doesn't have counter, but that Surf does significant damage onto Bastiodon. And now, going for the second Surf. That gets the Bastiodon deep into the red. Come on, HAXORUS, get to the Night Slash. They cannot. And things are suddenly scary. This Bastiodon is absolutely loaded on energy. They're going to bring in the Escav to force them to throw, and then you have to try and bullet punch down with the Metagross. Can Metagross take it out? They cannot. The Bastiodon lives on 1 HP. Can it survive a flamethrower? Metagross able to survive. They switch in the Venusaur. Venusaur gets taken out, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, putting HAXORUS into Swampert. And this is a very nice lead for HAXORUS. Resisted Hydro Cannons will still hit for a ton of damage, but so do those Dragon Tails. Oh my goodness. HAXORUS able to tank the Hydro Cannon, and now going to fire back with the Night Slash. We have yet to see a boost. Will this be the first? Unfortunately, it will not. But from here, HAXORUS can very safely shield up, Dragon Tail down, and leave with a move for whatever is in the back. And it's an Alolan Ninetales, and they're just not able to get off that move before they get charmed down. On the bright side, this Alolan Ninetales is about to know the meaning of pain as in comes the Shadow Metagross. They quickly bring in Scrafty, and the Scrafty is met with Escavalier. Unfortunately, this is not as good of a matchup for Escavalier as it might seem. Scrafty can go straight Power Up Punch and apply a lot of pressure. But at this point, you just save the shield for the Metagross, and you try and do as much damage as possible with the Escavalier. So you shield nothing here. They're just going for power-up punches. And now, with that shield in hand, you just commit to the farm down. Metagross able to farm down. In comes the Alolan Ninetales. Well, not for much longer. Alolan Ninetales gets absolutely demolished by Shadow Meteor Mash. And that's a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading HAXORUS into another Swampert. We saw how this lead played out in the previous match. It's a pretty positive lead for HAXORUS. This time, the opposing Swampert does actually farm up to the Earthquake. They're going to call it, and they successfully call the Hydro Cannon bait. What a read. Now, HAXORUS will have to shield up this second Hydro Cannon, but after that, they are looking to commit to the farm down, and HAXORUS on very low HP, but they have a ton of energy, and then the opponent brings in Skarmory to help neutralize that energy. Going for the first Night Slash, that gets them quite low. They did have the Surf, but they opt to go for a second Night Slash. This Night Slash will get that Skarmory below half health. He has two pretty good responses to Skarmory, brings in the Escavalier, and for the second time, an opponent switches the Galarian Stunfisk into an Escavalier. Last time, it didn't work out too well for them, but this time, the Galarian Stunfisk does have a shield advantage. You kind of have to shield at this particular moment if you're the Escavalier, and basically just hope that this Galarian Stunfisk doesn't 2-shield, because if they 2-shield, things are about to get very, very scary. Going for Drill Run number 2, you just have to hope they let it through, but they commit the shield, and switching and able to switch into the Metagross. What a beautiful catch to catch the Rock Slide, and with that catch, there may actually be hope. These bullet punches are adding up. They are able to reach the Meteor Mash. This is going to be taking out that Galarian Stunfisk. Where I didn't see a win con, they were able to find one. Back in comes the Skarmory. Skarmory is going to need to throw a move to take out the Shadow Metagross. But the question is, can Escavalier reach the Drill Run? Escavalier able to reach the Drill Run. This is going to be taking out the Skarmory. And that is a good game. My goodness. Hopping to the next match, leading HAXORUS into Venusaur. We saw this lead earlier, and it's a pretty nice lead for HAXORUS, but this time the Venusaur is opting to stay in. HAXORUS hasn't gotten a boost yet, but is hoping to change its fortunes. Going for the Night Slash, able to grab the shield, but unfortunately still no boost. Trying to get to Night Slash number 2, but the opponent with very nice counting throws just before they're able to get there. Shielding up the Sludge Bomb, HAXORUS going for the farm down, but they're not able to get it. Venusaur able to reach a last second Sludge Bomb, and they will have to commit the second shield. The opponent brings in Galarian Stunfisk. Could this be the same team as last time with a Bastiodon in the back? HAXORUS going for the Surf. Surf does massive damage onto that Galarian Stunfisk. Galarian Stunfisk may not have been prepared for that. They will have to commit the second shield, and they're just going to go for the Rock Slide to take out the HAXORUS. But if it is double steel in the back, then Escavalier is about to have an absolute field day. Waiting out the clock a little bit, didn't really have to do that in that situation. In comes Escavalier. The opponent was maybe trying to get to an Earthquake. They definitely had enough for a Rock Slide, but they chose not to throw it. They get taken out, and the final Pokemon in the back is Bastiodon. Farms up a bit on the Escavalier, and in comes the Metagross. Unfortunately, this Flamethrower will do big damage onto that Metagross. Metagross barely able to survive. There's a little bit of lag, but they still get off the move, and they're going to be able to hit back for heavy neutral damage with Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash does a solid chunk of damage, and with that energy lead, Escavalier is more than going to be able to outpace the Bastiodon. Drill Run hitting for some nice double super effective damage, and the Venusaur double tank team goes down to HAXORUS double steal. Hopping to the final match, letting HAXORUS into a Victreebel. And again, this is where having Dragon Tail is absolutely fantastic, as look at those Dragon Tails do damage. HAXORUS going for the Night Slash. This Victreebel will have to shield it, and HAXORUS finally gets a boost, able to farm down. What do they have in the back? They bring in Electrode, but Electrode is not ready for this boosted Night Slash. Night Slash does 2/3 of Electrode's health, able to farm them down. What is in the back? It is Talonflame, and despite that boost, he might still lose this match. HAXORUS went on an absolute rampage, but he has 2 steel types in the back, forced to bring in Escavalier onto this Talonflame and going to commit the shield. These counters will do some solid resisted damage, and now able to grab the final shield with the Drill Run. This is important. Now, you just have to bring in that Shadow Metagross and hope that you can reach the Meteor Mash. able to get through a bullet punch as they threw, which is massive. And now, can Metagross survive these Incinerates? Metagross able to farm down, and despite that Talonflame in the back, the double steal, able to clutch out the win. All in all, some incredibly cool battles with HAXORUS and Shadow Metagross in the Great League. These are definitely Pokemon I have yet to see outside of the Master League, so it was really cool to see someone use miniature versions of them and put them to pretty good success. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.